Created in 1946, the extraordinary Frida Kahlo painted her work The Wounded Deer during a turbulent period in her life, marked by personal trauma, including her chronic health issues and tumultuous marriage to fellow artist Diego Rivera. The Wounded Deer, standing at 9 inches by 12 inches, reflects not only her personal struggles, but also serves as a commentary on broader themes of pain and identity in a post-World War II context. The period was rife with social changes, and Kahlo's introspective nature positioned her work as a response to both existential struggles and her Mexican heritage, which heavily influenced her artistic motifs. Visually speaking, the deer in Kahlo's painting represents a complex interplay of vulnerability and suffering. The arrows piercing its body symbolize anguish and the burden of pain that she often felt throughout her life. The human facial features fused with the deer's body invoke the idea of being caught between two worlds, the physical and the spiritual. The natural surroundings may signify a longing for escape, while the visible wounds embody Kahlo's own experiences of injury and emotional distress. This imaginative synthesis of human and animal forms opens a dialogue on identity, injury, and resilience. Kahlo's artwork is a representation of a longing for freedom for herself and the world around her. Kahlo has painted herself attached to nature in an environment that has been attacked and left barren. The trees are naked without leaves and provide no shelter for the vulnerable wounded deer to hide as the arrows pierce into its body. The wounded deer is no ordinary deer because of its depiction as part of Kahlo, who may be speaking of her own physical, mental, and emotional victimhood, despite her potential, capacity, and yearning to defeat the odds, which had been lessened by her illness and even by society. There are many contradictory elements in Kahlo's painting. Despite the arrows piercing the wounded deer's body, the deer is nonetheless seemingly alive, and a path emerges behind it where water appears as an escape. Therefore, the wounded deer may be alive because Kahlo is also part of the wounded deer, making Kahlo an intelligence, a memory, and an awareness that surpasses the hunt. Or Kahlo is alive because she is part of the wounded deer, at least in the painting. Another interpretation of the water path could be that it is a dead end, as there seems to be darker clouds above the water that could symbolize more tumultuous times to come, or a more pessimistic outlook that Kahlo may have held herself. Because of Frida Kahlo's accident, she was physically limited, and so, although her body was not fully functioning, her mind was full of creativity and wonder, much like a deer galloping a forest that once was full of life. In Kahlo's painting, the landscape seems to have been torn apart just to capture the wounded deer. Perhaps Kahlo is symbolically warning human beings about the fragility of nature and life itself. A warning not to destroy our environment, our society, and our world just to obtain something seemingly enchanting. I also wonder if Kahlo is juxtaposing the deterioration of nature with the greater likelihood of hostility as an invariability. I also wonder if she is encouraging human beings to respect nature more without causing its downfall, or our own. Kahlo may have painted herself as a deer because she believed herself to be innocent like nature, in that she had no control over her deteriorating health, just like nature has no control over its own health unless we become more conscientious. This may be why the broken tree branch is laid next to the wounded deer, as though they can be compared as one. Once a tree branch is broken, it will eventually wane away, much like the wounded deer, which due to its wounds will eventually succumb to its injuries and pass away. Does this mean once some things are broken, those things cannot be repaired? Or should we try to prevent those things from breaking in the first place? Throughout her oeuvre, Kahlo paints about her life's pains, injustices, and wounds openly, and the wounded deer is a mark of her self-exploration not only as an artist, but also as a complete human being living the life she was given as Frida Kahlo. The wounded deer could very well be a dreamlike, imaginary state for Kahlo that she envisioned about herself as a creature in a deserted forest, already wounded and now seen by the viewer. Perhaps Kahlo's paintings were a way to make herself be seen by viewers, so they could understand her and her perspective as an artist and trailblazer. This was Art Explained in 5 minutes. Thank you for watching. Please like, share, and subscribe, and remember to follow at Thinking Artist. See you in the next one.